So now that we have all the basics working, one important thing when you're building an e-commerce store is managing inventory and your stock levels. In some cases you might not need to manage inventory, but we're going to go ahead and show you how you can download a separate module that will help you manage your stock levels. So because this is not something that comes default with your Drupal commerce site, you're going to need to download and install a separate module. One place you can find this is in the Commerce Marketplace. And again, the Commerce Marketplace has a whole bunch of different types of add-ons and modules that are specific to just Drupal Commerce. So if I search for Commerce Stock here, you're going to see there's a Commerce Stock module. And there's a whole bunch of information about the Commerce Stock module that you can go ahead and read. It tells you kind of how to set it up, what version of the module you should use, and then there's this download link. You could click this download link and it'll download it to your computer, and you can then re-upload it to your site and get it installed. There's also a link here to view the Drupal.org project page. I'm going to click that. Drupal.org is the place where almost all modules you will install will be found. So even though it was on the Commerce Marketplace, Drupal.org has it as well. Drupal.org has a lot more than just commerce-related modules. So if you wanted to download any various type of module, you could probably find it on Drupal.org. You could simply use the search box here, or if you are Googling a certain type of module you might need, it'll probably bring you to the Drupal.org page. And so we're going to show you how to install it from the actual Drupal.org page. It says a lot of the same information. It might be a little different. It has a couple important things. If you're having specific problems with a module, there are issues that are opened, and so you may see that someone else is having the same problem and will have a solution for you. The other important thing to note is there's a reported number of installs and number of downloads. Since this is a couple thousand, you can be pretty safe in knowing that it's been tested quite a bit. If the number was 2 or 3, you might wonder if the module's been tested very well, because not a lot of people are using it. So we're going to go ahead and just hover over this recommended release 7.x-2.1, and I'm going to go ahead and just right click on this tar.gz, which is just another kind of zip file, and I'm going to copy the link address. So in this way I don't actually have to download it to my computer. Now we're now going to install our first module. So to do that, we go back to our site, go to Site Settings, Modules, and there's now this Install New Module button. You need to make sure, again, on your Pantheon, you have it set to SFTP mode, and we went through that when we first set up our Pantheon account. But if you don't see this blue button, that could be the reason why. So if you click Install New Module, you could upload the module if you had downloaded it to your computer, or you can install from a URL. So I'm just going to paste that in there. You can see it drops in the Commerce Stock with the version that we want, and now we click Install. And this will go out to the Drupal.org website, and it'll pull down that module and drop it into your site for you. So now we can click to either install another module or enable the newly added module. So we're going to click Enable because we have to now turn the module on. So we're going to use over here on the left, look for Commerce Stock. You can see there are 2, or actually 5, I believe, options for Commerce Stock. So we're actually going to go ahead and turn all of them on. So the Commerce Stock API is the core of what is needed in order to get this to work. We want to manage the levels of our commerce products with a decimal level field. We want to make sure we have the various stock validation rules on. The decimal formatter module we want to turn on, and the stock UI. So this UI is what actually allows you to see the stock values. So that's kind of the UI, or the user interface of it, so we want that as well. And this will take a few seconds because you're actually turning on, or installing, and enabling all 5 of those modules. So we're going to go ahead and And if you would have came to that modules page before, you wouldn't have seen any of those 5 checkboxes. So all of those came over when we downloaded this Commerce Stock module from Drupal.org. The next step is you'll notice there's a configure option over here. It also will show up under Store Settings, Stock Management. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and we're going to do a little bit of configuration. This first one is just basically a status message saying the Commerce Stock API has been enabled. If we go to Simple Stock Management, we can set which products we want to enable stock management on. So we're going to select mugs, products, and shirts, and click Submit. And this will actually enable the stock field on all 3 of those product types. This also opens up the option to allow stock management overrides, but we're not going to get into that. We're just going to keep it really simple. Stock validation is a bunch of rules that will run. So in this one, it actually disables the Add to Cart button if the item is not in stock. And it validates when you add to cart that there's enough items available to actually add it to your cart. It does the same during checkout. So basically, it prevents users from being able to check out with a product if you don't have that product in stock. So that's kind of nice, and that's what that validation rule module does. Stock control is some of the same kind of rules, but these happen when you actually check out. So this will actually decrease the stock levels when you check out with an item. So if you have 5 mugs and someone checks out with one of them, the stock level will be changed to 4 mugs. And it also increases when you cancel an order. Okay, so the one other thing we want to do, and this most likely isn't necessary, but if you notice something doesn't seem to be working right, you can come into Site Settings, Configuration, and this applies kind of broadly across Drupal. If something seems like it should be showing up and it isn't, sometimes it's caught in what's called the Drupal cache. So you go into the configuration, you go to Performance, and you can click this button called Clear All Caches. And that just kind of clears up all the settings that are stored temporarily in Drupal and will kind of give you a fresh start.
So once that cache gets cleared, let's actually get to seeing what this all stock is doing. So what we're going to do is we want to go and we're going to edit the stock of a mug product we have. So by coming in here and just clicking edit, you're going to see that there is now going to be an option for stock in here. So once we edit one of these products, you'll see that at the bottom there is a stock. And of course there is a decimal allowed for that, but since you can't have half of a mug, we're going to enter 5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save that. And then once we get that saved, we're going to head on over to the listings page, or the category listing page for our mugs. I'm going to show if it's showing up. So we're going to go back to the home page and click on mugs, and it's going to list again all our mugs. And we'll click there to load the page. And then below there you'll see that there is a stock there. Now that's nice and that's working, because if we switch back to the other mug, we'll see that it said 5, which is what we set, which is great. But again, we don't want that to display to our final user. They don't need to know how much stock of a product we have or don't have. So what we need to do is we need to go edit the product display, which we've done in a previous video, to eliminate that from the view. So we can go into products, variation types. And then we want to edit the manage display for the mug. And then right there we see stock, and we're just going to move that from showing to hidden and save that, and then we'll refresh the page of the mug, and then that stock should now no longer be seen. And again, this is just simply for the viewing of it. This doesn't affect stock at all, and this is a preference of ours. If you wanted to show stock, you could leave it in.
And you'll also want to make sure you go through and do this for your other 2 product types. We'll just show you how to do the one, but you can go ahead on your own, and if you want to hide the stock, you can do that by going to the other product types.
Okay, so now that we're on that page, and we know that this red one has a quantity of 5, let's try to add more than 5. Let's say we really like mugs and we want to add 6. So once we try to add that to cart, the system is smart enough to know to check, and this is in those rules that we previously looked at, basically checks the quantity you added versus the stock, and it says, hey, you don't have enough. You can only order up to 5, so that means it's working, which is awesome. Okay, so now we want to go and look at our stickers. We're going to look at a different product that we didn't add any stock to yet. So if we go to our sticker, let's just pick one of them. And you'll be able to see that we cannot add a sticker to our cart, which seems kind of odd, right? Well, the reason is we did not set a stock on this. The stock right now is set to 0. So what we'll need to do is we need to edit this product and give it some stock. So let's just say we want to give it a stock of we have 1. Just say we have 1 in stock left. So we're just going to change that to 1. And then we're going to refresh that page. And once we save it, just to show that we can add it to our cart. So you'll see here, now we can add it to our cart. So now we want to go ahead and we're manually going to create an order here. And we're going to basically get that stock down to 0 to show that it is subtracting once an order gets processed. So again, we're going to simulate it. And we're looking for that white sticker, which is what we added to. And we're just going to leave it at 1. And then we're just going to quickly fill in some information here to get the order processed. Again, if you have questions about manually processing an order, make sure to check out that previous video as we walk through that in more detail. Again, we're just literally trying to make sure the stock decreases from that 1 to a 0. So once we get that all done, we're going to, again, associate that with one of our users. Save that. And then remember in that previous video, there's that big button that says simulate the checkout process. You want to make sure to run that because that runs the rule to subtract the stock. If you don't, your stock won't be affected. So we're going to run that. And now we should be able to reload to this sticker page we were just on. The white sticker, and you'll see now it says out of stock, stock 0. And again, remember the stock is showing there because what Shane mentioned previously, we did not hide it on that display. So there you go, guys. That's how you install a module, how you configure that module, and then how you test the stock functionality with your Drupal commerce site.